I have the time as 7:32, so I will call the public hearing and regular business meeting of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, January 27th, 2025 to order. We do have a quorum. All members are present. We're going to start tonight with an invocation to be given by Tanisha Estrada. She's the founder and CEO of Girls Breaking Chains.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I wanted to just start off with 1 John 4. I want to read. It says, "Dear friends, let us continue to love one another, for love comes from God. Anyone who loves is a child of God and knows God." And in a time where our country is divided, I just feel that God wants us to be united. And so I want to pray with that in mind, that we just unite as one. Dear God, we thank you for this meeting. We thank you for our council members, our mayor, the city, God, the state. Lord, we just pray that you would just allow us to draw closer to you and truly love each other. We may not agree on everything, God, but we just pray, Father, that we can see beyond our differences and just love each other. I pray that you keep your hands around all of the council members, this country, our president. And God, just in this season, Lord, let us go out of our way to be kind and loving to each other. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. And now, if you, for those who are able, please rise for the pledge to be led by Norman Carter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And under ceremonial matters, we do have one proclamation, 2025-03, recognizing Suresh Subhash as winner of America's Top Young Scientist Award. And we have a little video that we're going to play.
According to the FDA, around 60% of all produce contains pesticide residues. And that means there's a significant amount of pesticides entering our diet, or they've been linked to a variety of health issues, from Alzheimer's to Parkinson's to even certain cancers. However, if we could detect these pesticides, we could avoid consuming them, and thereby decrease the risks of these health issues. The current methods of detecting pesticides, the ones that are designed for at-home use, they typically require the chopping up of the produce and the application of certain chemicals, and that renders the produce unconsumable. However, the non-destructive methods, the ones that leave the produce consumable and untouched, they typically either require a lab or they're way too expensive for the average person. That's why I designed PestiScan, a handheld AI-based pesticide detector. Hi, I'm Suresh Subhash from Snellville, Georgia, and this is my project, PestiScan. So PestiScan, it works on the principle of spectrophotometry. So it shines different wavelengths of light onto an object, and it looks at what's reflected back. So different objects, based on their chemical compositions, they reflect and absorb different wavelengths of light. PestiScan looks for specific wavelengths of light that are reflected by pesticides. That's, in a nutshell, how it works. So now I'm going to take a quick demo of PestiScan. So here we have PestiScan. Here we see on the screen the user interface. All I have to do is tap measure while you're pointing the sensor here at the produce item. So once you tap measure, this sensor will scan the produce item and it'll relay the data to the AI modules, where the result is processed and we get the output here, which is there's no pesticides detected. So the user can read out the pop-up, close it out, and proceed to either measure again or exit the program. So PestiScan, it did really well in its current phase in testing. However, I have plans for improvements as well. So I'm planning on changing out the sensor to a more accurate sensor while also tuning the wavelength range that have pesticides. And I'm planning on changing the AI models to have them trained on more samples. That way they have a broader coverage of pesticides and produce items, as well as a higher accuracy. And lastly, I'm planning on working on a mobile app where you have a version of PestiScan where it will just clip onto the back of your phone, and you hold your phone over the produce item, and you tap scan on the phone. That would make it much more portable and cost effective. So that's PestiScan, how it works, and where I'm planning to take this project. Thank you for your time.
Wait, we've got a whole proclamation to read. Can we start by just saying wow? So this is Proclamation 2025-03. City of Snellville honors local student for national competition win. Whereas the City of Snellville encourages innovation and excellence from our young students, and the 3M Young Scientist Challenge is the nation's premier science competition for grades 5 through 8. And whereas this one-of-a-kind video competition has sparked the imaginations of hundreds of thousands of students and enhanced science exploration, innovation, and communication across the United States. And whereas in 2008, Discovery Education joined forces with 3M, one of the world's most notable innovators, to cultivate the next generation of problem solvers and give students the unique opportunity to work directly with 3M scientists. And whereas in October 2024, all 10 finalists came to 3M's world headquarters in St. Paul, Minnesota, to compete for the title of America's Top Young Scientist and the chance to win $25,000. Throughout the two-day event, finalists competed in hands-on challenges, met with 3M scientists, learned about 3M technologies, and finally showcased their inventions and solutions to solve everyday problems that landed them in a spot as the top 10 finalists. And whereas Suresh Sabash of Snellville, a student at Gwinnett School of Mathematics, Science, and Technology, won the competition and the grand prize by creating a method to detect pesticide residue on consumable produce using an AI-based handheld detector. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Barbara Bender, Mayor of the City of Snellville, where everybody's proud to be somebody, do hereby join with our City Council and the citizens of Snellville to recognize and applaud Suresh for winning the National 3M Young Scientist Challenge. We encourage Suresh to continue his educational endeavor and wish him the greatest success. Proclaim this 27th day of January 2025. If you'll come up and we will get some pictures.
Very good. You want to come on in?
Okay, now we'll move on to the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2024 meetings, as well as the January 16th, 2024 special called work session.
Aren't these 2025?
Oh, I'm sorry.
They should be 2025.
It should be 2025. On our agenda, it says 24, so I apologize for that.
So we have a motion to approve the minutes of the 2025 January meetings by Gretchen, and we need a second?
Second.
And there's a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. We have no invited guests or committee or department reports, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda, January 27, 2025.
There's a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second? There is a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. And now we have one item under our public hearing. We have second reading RZ 24-05, SUP 24-03, and RZ 24-06. Consideration and action on applications by Parkland Communities, Inc., the applicant, and Snellville Community Church, Inc., the property owner, requesting A, to amend the official zoning map from CI Civic Institutional District and TCR Town Center Residential District to TCR Town Center Residential District. B, a special use permit. And C, request for variances from the Snellville Unified Development Ordinance for 140 stacked townhouse-style, stacked flat community on a 7.77 acre tract of the Snellville Community Church campus located on Civic Drive Southwest Page Street, at Page Street and Henry Clower Boulevard, Snellville. Tax parcels 5026051, 177, and 5027107. Additionally, the applicant is requesting to amend the official zoning map from CI Civic Institutional District to BG General Business District on a 1.1 acre tract of the 7.77 acre total site for a 14,000 square foot commercial building for adult living, daycare, retail, and restaurant uses. Before you get started, Mr. Thompson, I would like to read information about the way the public hearing will flow. I know a lot of you may not be familiar with the way these go. So just to provide some instruction. In order to help everyone have an equal opportunity to be heard and minimize distraction, I ask the audience to please silence or turn off any electronic communication devices. I would like to remind everyone present that this is an official public meeting at which important business is conducted, and it is a legal process. The city attorney has advised the council that audience outbursts, including applause, have been used by the courts to overturn zoning decisions. Therefore, I ask that you refrain from applause and all other extraneous remarks. Each side will be allowed a total of 15 minutes for support and 15 minutes in opposition. This is not per person, but total. So you may wish to consider coordinating your arguments beforehand or consider having a spokesperson present your position. If council members ask questions of you, it will not be deducted from your time. Should you have the opportunity to come to the microphone to make a comment in support or in opposition to any of the requests before us, please state your name and address for the public record before beginning. Also, you will only be given one opportunity to speak. Please also direct all of your comments to myself and the council and not to the applicant or another speaker. So if you raise questions, then the applicant or our planning director may be able to respond to those after. The way the process will flow is I will ask Jason Thompson, our planning director, who's standing here just chomping at the bit, waiting to get into this. He will introduce the case, and he will just present all of the facts and the details of the case. I will allow City Council to ask any questions that they have of Mr. Thompson. After that is complete, then we will ask the applicant to come forward. The applicant has their time to present their case. And the council will have chances to ask the applicant questions. Then once the applicant has stated their case, then I will ask for anyone in support to come forward, who wishes to speak to come forward, give your name and address, and then make your comments. We ask you to keep it short because there may be other people who wish to speak. We've got the 15-minute time frame, and that's it. And then once we get through anybody in support, then we will open the floor to anyone in opposition, and then you may come forward to speak. The applicant may be given, if they've got extra time, they will have time to come up and give a rebuttal or respond to some of the comments. With that, I will turn it over to Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Madam Mayor, may I just make a statement before we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just wanted to state for full disclosure that I am a member of Snellville Community Church. I do not serve in any leadership position in the church, or have not worked with this developer in any way. I've talked to the city attorney about this, and he assures me that it is all right for me to participate in this public hearing. So I just wanted to make that statement up front. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Schultz. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council and the public for being here tonight. We have a case in front of us that has a rezoning component, a special use permit as well, for a couple of different uses and a couple of different locations. We have a rezoning here from CI to BG to include this front portion of the commercial project, and then we also have a requested zoning change for to town center residential, and a special use permit that's associated with the 140 units of stacked townhomes. And in this case, in regards to our code, they're considered multifamily because they share walls up and down as well as left and right. So you'll see stacked flats, but it's really just a modified version of our to accommodate this different kind of product that's on the market. The property owner is the Snellville Community Church. They're represented by Parkland Communities here tonight, and our initial recommendation is approval with conditions. We'll just get into the site plan a little bit more, and then request we've already covered for the two rezonings. One to change this for the retail, the adult daycare, and then the associated rezoning and special use permit for any multifamily in the town center district. I think this will help us see it a little bit better. A little bit easier on the eyes, at least. So what we have in front of you is, again, 140 units. It has some civic space, some green space, and these are called stacked flats, or they call them stacked townhomes. We consider them stacked flats. I'll let the applicant give you a little more information on how they're constructed, but basically there's two units within each building. The front typically, or whatever, has the rear porch or face towards the street. Paid on this side is the 2-bedroom with the 3-bedroom unit in the front. It has a front porch where the rear unit has a deck. There's different entries and access ways through the different units to get to the different floors. You can see that better on the floor plan, but basically they serve as townhomes, not next to each other, but kind of above and beyond as well. They've also requested 5 variances that we'll go over at a little later time in regards to streetscapes, parking locations, and vehicle access and parking locations, and one more for the floor to ceiling height. But just a little overview on the town center and the character area and how the development looks to meet the goals of the town center. Our predominant land use now is public, civic, commercial, office, professional, medium density residential, and high density residential. Some of the key implementation strategies that this project meets in the comp plan is active redevelopment, larger block redevelopment, and also to pursue density in target areas of the community, promote redevelopment again, ensure access to green space, provide a different housing stock and housing diversity within the city, and those are just a few of those. Specifically to the request for town center residential district rezoning, it's basically the same request for the SUP. Again, any multifamily in the town center requires an SUP. It doesn't allows the council to set maximum densities at that time, and with this development currently it is at 18 units per acre for the residential portion, and then we have the commercial portion out front, which is a 14,000 square foot building. I'll show you just some of the exterior treatments of the proposed development. These would be, I believe, typically 3 bedrooms that have the front porch These would be the rears that have the deck and mostly the 2-bedroom units. They all access the products from the garage and also through the front. There's 2 accesses for each unit. It's a different look, kind of at the front and the inside. We actually toured some of these and look very similar to that. And in regards to the commercial building in the front, these are some preliminary elements or renderings. I will state now that currently these renderings don't meet the code for town center as regard to building height. It's required to have a certain height to be able to project and kind of scale up with everything else there. An approval of this rendering wouldn't grant a variance in that regard. It would have to bring compliant plans to be reviewed and approved. And let's talk about the variances a little bit. There's originally 7 variances. One of the original requests was to reduce the sidewalk width here along Page Street and the planting strip. We originally denied that. We requested denial. The applicant submitted Friday this site plan, which shows that request has basically been removed and complied with. I'd like to also speak to the fact that any street standards required on Page Street as far as width and development of Page Street will fall in the hands of the developer if they can't meet the widths within what's within the right-of-way as of now. So those 2 variances went away. That was a variance request 1 and 2. Variance request 3 is in regards to allowing parking, which is in what considered the front yard. That's really more appropriate for a apartment building that has a shared parking. They don't want those in front of the buildings because these are townhomes and the way they're oriented to preserve the green space in the rear, I guess, of the development. They have to be allowed that variance to even have those driveways there. So we recommended approval based on the product and the plan of that. Hold on. Basically, they also need a variance to be allowed to face what's considered, in this case, the rear of the building to a public street. Typically, that would be designed and shown, as you can see here, on a rear alley. Given the depth of the lot and kind of the way that Page Street exists now, it almost serves as more, in my opinion, as a back alley now. So in order to preserve the green space and the connectivity here, we believe that that variance is appropriate. And you're going to have 22 feet from basically the end of the right-of-way or the sidewalk back to the garage, plus another 15 feet of streetscape. So what's that, 37 feet just to the edge of the curb to the front building on even the shortest driveway, I believe. So we recommend approval for that. Again, the number of driveways has to have a variance because there's more than one per 300 square feet. Again, that's a code that deals with regular stacked flats, what we call apartments, and a massive, a shared parking drive. They also had one more variance. It's not really a variance, but something we wanted to cover in regards to the commercial space that's required in the area. It's to have up to 15,000 square feet. In the way, just kind of zoom in. I'm not sure if you can see that real red line, but the way it was measured wasn't door to door. It was more like as the crow flies. Looks like there's plenty of potential retail space to meet the 15,000 square foot minimum. We're just wanted to make sure that the way it was shown on here, we observe it as being met and no need for a variance, but wanted to make that part of the record as well to make sure that the expectation is set early. So for conclusion on us, we recommend approval of the official zoning map for the 3.33 acre lot, which is up north here. From CI to BG, we make recommendation for the town center district and the additional 4.44 acre, the rest of the property, to town center residential, district, and then we also recommend approval for the special use permit of the 140 units, approval of the zoning map again from ZI to BG, approval of variance number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and 1 and 2 are no longer needed, so the denial isn't pertinent anymore. We'd also like to introduce the standard conditions. Property shall be developed in general accordance with the conceptual rezoning site plan and the renderings, and furthermore, anything that is not code compliant and has not specifically been varied for will not, it doesn't gain approval by just approval of the site plan. Anyways, all variances and conditions, zoning approved on 4/22. There were some cases, there's some history here. There was a rezoning that never got built. Those are withdrawn. Uses involving adult entertainment, including the sale or display of any adult magazines, are prohibited. And then our favorite, no signs higher than 15 feet or larger than 225 square feet are prohibited. Be happy to answer any questions at this time that I can.
Are there members of council who would like to ask questions of Mr. Thompson?
Jason, the setback for the commercial building looks awfully close to Highway 78, which is Main Street, in comparison to the church building. Just looking at that perspective, do you know what that setback is, and is it within our code to have that commercial building that close?
It is, and you'll see this as more, we kind of push the buildings forward in the new town center, and as we redevelop, the actual code is there's only allowed to set it back maximum 10 feet from the end of the right-of-way. So they're within code. From what we can tell, I don't see the exact measurement, but the max setback is 10, and that's again to keep the parking, which we want to promote the pedestrian environment, and a parking lot in front of the building typically kills that. So you're gonna, I think you saw that on our old white building, the coffee building too. That's what you're seeing too, is kind of the change from traditional setbacks with parking to kind of pushing it forward. And it's kind of just going to be that result if code sticks around.
Mr. Thompson, I'm a little bit, well, I need a little clarification.
Sure.
This commercial building, which you referred to, and you said it doesn't meet the codes for our town center district in terms of height. And I know that another code it does not meet is one of the elevations shows a drive-through window on there, which would require a special use permit. So tonight, are we excluding that commercial building from what we're
Not necessarily.
voting
So
on?
if you wanted to move forward with this rendering, the rendering would not allow them any special circumstances, and it's more of a conceptual rendering, so you're not seeing the finished product. The finished product would still have to meet code, and from my understanding with the drive-through is that if they haven't applied for the special use permit, they have to get the special use permit before the drive-through can, legally be used. And I believe that to be true. Is it true? Yeah. So we don't, if you approve or whatever you do with it, as long as you're explicit in the approval, you can do it however you want.
Any other questions of council members? Mr. Thompson, just one question. Do you know, or are you aware if there's been any kind of traffic studies or counts for Pate Street? My concern is that we're adding all of these driveways on a street that's going to now act as a back alley, but the fact is it is still a street and there still is an operating business there, and there's the potential for the tree area down by the cul-de-sac to develop into something in the future as well. So I'm just concerned, most people are going to pull straight into their driveways, so you're going to have a lot of cars backing out onto Pate Street to go. I'm just a little concerned with the traffic activity.
I do
there.
not have the traffic counts. Typically, what do we got down there? And just kind of rough it, 1, 2, 3, 7, 11, talking about 20 units, couple trips a day, maybe 55, 70 total trips a day. I'll let the applicant speak more to that because I don't have any numbers in regards to traffic.
Okay. Any other council members with questions for Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Thompson, so since you have the drawing up here right now, I know right now Pate Street is, was out there today and measured it, 19 feet of paved surface area. And it has only a total of 30 feet of right-of-way according to the city manager. So 15 feet either side from center line. It's my understanding that in order for them to develop, they have to build that, at least that side of the street out to meet current code, which is 27 feet wide paved surface and then curb and gutter separate.
That would be my interpretation as well.
Is that something that we would have to be put specificity in the motion, or are we sure that our development code covers that?
You can do a belt and suspenders type thing if you want to add it as a condition of
Yeah,
this
put it on
item
there.
as well.
It's better to set the expectation on the front end, in my opinion. Just, I mean, if it's a code and it just puts it in two spots, so I don't think a condition hurts it at all.
Okay, but then the question then comes up, the other side of the street, does that not get upgraded and developed? Which actually the other side of the street, the I guess that's the west side of Pate Street, already has curb and gutter. So that would remain as is until such time that that area would redevelop. So we'd have a street that's wider on one side than the other.
I don't think that this property owner has the right or the ability without an agreement of across the way to build it out. So it's going to be a little awkward if they do it. Yeah.
Well, and just wanted to make sure that was clear to everybody that we're going to have a streetscape that's half developed. Just wanted to make sure I was on point.
Any other council members with questions for Mr. Thompson?
I do want to say that just those driveways along Pate Street, you're looking at 2 cars a driveway. That's more like 100 trips a day.
Pretty low numbers for a residential street, even something like that. I mean, in general, when we run the traffic counts for residential, I mean, you're talking about they're really not super high for. It wouldn't trip up anything as far as any kind of traffic mitigation and any kind of traffic study that would require us to upgrade or something over just relatively small amount of homes given the circumstance. We didn't really even meet the threshold for traffic study in a larger kind of picture. Well, you can ask the applicant. They'll know better than I will about their traffic patterns of their residents. I mean, from what I saw, we were there at a pretty much undeveloped neighborhood, so we couldn't get a good feel for it. Unfinished, not undeveloped.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is the applicant present?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you can use mine.
I'll use yours. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, you'll have 15 minutes to present your case. Any time you reserve will be allowed for rebuttal at the end, and our trusty city attorney here will keep the clock.
Great. Good evening. My name is Tyler Lasser with LJA Engineering at 299 South Main Street in Alpharetta. I'm here tonight on behalf of Parkland Communities as well as Snellville Community Church, who's requesting the rezonings and special use permit tonight. I'll keep my end of this presentation quick. I have a few folks behind me that would like to speak as well, so I'll get right into it. I just want to reiterate a few things that Mr. Thompson had said and fill in a few blanks. First of all, it was great working with staff on this one. The project has really evolved into a plan that we really like. With this, I want to emphasize that this is in that town center character area, which has a main objective of providing walkability. And to meet that objective, it's encouraged to have a variety of housing types, including medium and high density residential options. And that's exactly what we're requesting with this development here. And to complement the residential, we're also adding that commercial component to really make a great mixed-use master planned community, which is seemingly consistent with everything else, the pattern of development that's going around in the town center area. As proposed, the development will include up to 140 of the stacked townhomes, and I believe Kevin had just passed around the elevations, but I'll show it here as well. Here's one of them. This is just generally what we are proposing at this point. These have been updated since what were initially submitted with our application. But what we mean by these stacked townhomes is that they have the appearance of one large townhome, but they're actually split to include the two separate units with their own individual entrances in the front and the rear. These will include a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom unit with a minimum floor area of 1,600 square feet. So even with them being split, they're still very large in size. And with these, you can see they have the exterior materials consisting of a mixture of brick, stone, and fiber cement siding. So with these updated ones, we've added a little bit more shake and a couple extra details just to make it look a little bit more unique. Going back to the site plan, I'm going to use this color one just because it's a little bit easier to look at. All of the units will be rear loaded with a 1-car garage and a 1-car driveway, so 2 private parking spaces per unit, plus some additional on-street parking. As you can see, there's some within the alleys, over by the pond, along Pate Street, throughout here as well. So plenty of parking. With Parkland's previous projects with a similar product, they've never had an issue, and this will actually have more parking than what they've had in the past. The garages themselves are accessed via the 20-foot wide internal alleys or Pate Street, which was mentioned before, which is a public right-of-way. And this allows the units to front the Civic Street sidewalks, which is really nice, which you can see right here, as well as some of the internal open space, which include paths, as well as a 1.5-acre park and the amenities. So this really creates an ideal walking community and just really enhances the walkability of the neighborhood in general and meets that comprehensive plan's structure. I know this was brought up at previous projects, so I just want to bring it up again. This will have dumpster trash pickup throughout the development, all of which are easily accessible by the trucks. So you can see a few closer to the commercial space as well as the dead end of Pate Street. All units will be landscaped, all units, the landscaping, the pool within the amenity area, and other private property within this development will all be maintained by a property management group. So I just want to make that clear. The commercial aspect, which I will show. Front elevation. The commercial aspect of the development will be the new 14,000 square feet building, which will place the existing outdated building at the corner of Main and Civic Drive. This is designed to fit in well with the residential component, as well as everything that has been going up in the town center area. So again, these are just conceptual drawings right here. Of course, they are open to meeting the city's standard and tweaking the elevations however is required. With this is much more pedestrian scaled than what was there before. Like it was brought up before, the current building is probably 100 feet back. This is much closer to the sidewalk, and it's actually accessible to pedestrians walking along 78 or the area around it, which is, and also I want to bring up that the fact that buildings closer to the street actually tend to reduce speeds on those streets that they abut. There will be 3 suites minimum within this building, 2 of which have already planned tenants, which will be brought up tonight after me. But with there, I'll end my portion. We do agree with all the staff's recommended conditions, and we are happy to further make tweaks based on your conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Lasser. Any questions of council for the applicant?
Go right ahead.
Mr. Lassiter, have these new handout information pieces has that been submitted to the city? The
Yes,
planning
ma'am.
department?
Yep.
Okay, and when have
So-
these been submitted to the city?
Right, so the site plans that you have right there had been submitted on Friday.
Okay, so if these were submitted on Friday, that, which you just handed us,
Yes.
these have not been available to the public for individuals who have not been able to attend the meeting tonight. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, so the only difference with that site plan is that it reflects the 2 variances that were denied. So we were able to go back in and redesign it a little bit just to incorporate those designs to make it so we actually meet that code. So that includes the landscape strip and the sidewalk width along Pate Street. So this has just been enhanced. There's been no change in density or anything like that. It's just been enhanced overall based on staff's feedback. Yep.
Okay.
I want to publicly state we did post them to the website on Friday. So they were available on the website as of 3:30ish.
I don't get to ask. I'm not sure if Mr. Lassiter's one to answer the question or not, but if you could come back up to the microphone. They shouldn't be that tough.
Sure.
As far as these elevations that we were given tonight, are these the same, basically the same as what is currently being produced over on the Sugarloaf site?
Yeah, so same floor plan, just
Right, same
different
floor
exteriors a
plan,
little
but
bit.
is there a substantial difference as far as, since he's standing up, we'll let him answer that when he gets, no, come back. Man, you're paying him, we're gonna make him earn it.
He designs them, so.
Yeah, let's see. So we're clear on this, as far as the residential component, this is all for rent. None of this is for sale. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you mentioned that you've had no parking problems when you've built this product before. I was unaware that you'd had the stacked parking or the stacked units, the stacked flats, that's what they're called, that was actually constructed and in place other than the one that is currently in leasing. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I don't think I understood the question.
Well, okay, so these are a 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom stacked.
Yes, sir.
And they each have a single-car garage.
Yes.
Do you have that same product in place anywhere else?
Yes.
Okay, they're nodding their heads, so
Yes,
they'll
that'd
give
be
us
the
the
Sweetwater
address when they
Springs
get up
product,
there.
yeah, product.
I just want to make sure
Yes.
that the person who said it gets to answer it first. Let's see. That's it for you. You're good. Thank you very much.
Any other questions of council for Mr. Lasser? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Did you want to go ahead and get your parking question answered, or are you good? Okay. Okay, so now, I'm sorry?
Oh, they're done?
No, you're not done. It's more people speaking.
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. So you're still part of the applicant presentation?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Mayor, council persons, my name is Michael Kohler. I actually live out in Monroe, but we operate a 501c3 in Lawrenceville called Special Needs and Treats. And the reason we're here this evening is in support of the opportunity that we've been approached with by the developers that they want to provide us with an in-space in the retail unit to further what we do, which is we educate, train, and employ special needs adults in a bakery environment to provide sweet treats to the local community and give them a sense of belonging, empowerment, and things of that nature. And with 151 on a waiting list, yet we have 39 working now and 4 volunteers, this would provide us an opportunity that we typically probably would not get quickly our own, but a space to be able to educate those folks, bring more work into this community with special needs adults, and to just enhance that, as well as other job opportunities. I heard mention of the drive-through. That was something where eventually down the road we do serve coffees. There's a lot of coffee shops that do special education work, and it would just further feed into what we do in teaching those skill sets to support the community, to serve customers, and provide folks who may not get opportunities as much as we'd like to see them get with that, and be a part of the community in that respect. So that's why I'm here this evening, was to speak on behalf of that and the retail space of an opportunity that we may not otherwise get.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Quincy Brown. I live at 1450 Gateside Court here in Snellville, and I've served proudly as a senior pastor at Snellville Community Church for the nearly 4 years. Our mission is doing life together for the glory of God and the transformation of Snellville. Our church has had a 141-year history in this community. 101 years of that history, we have partnered with the city, nonprofit, and schools. Several ways that we have done this partnership is, in the early 2000s, we at Snellville United Methodist Church at the time did a land swap for this existing building as a partnership with the city. In addition to that, we provide space for the Active Adult City, the Active Adult Center for overflow parking and events for Town Center. We serve right now as a temporary home for Snellville Parks and Recreation Center. We have at least 140 kids on Saturdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays in our gym until they can get a gym space. We're proud of that partnership that we have. We're voting precinct. We provide space for ER Snell training days, and we're designated Red Cross space. We believe in what it means to be a community. Our middle name is community, and we see this project as yet one more way that we can partner with our community.
This is the first time for me coming to the council, so good evening, everyone, Mayor and Council. My name is Bruce Hinkle. I'm a trustee with Snellville Community Church. I lived in Snellville for 10 years on Pinehurst and 38 years out Lenore Church Road, so I've been here a long time. Both my kids were raised here. They were South Gwinnett graduates, and I can remember going back years, sitting on the curb on 78, watching Boss Hogg come by and the Lone Ranger come by in the parades, and it was a lot of fun. I even worked at the park, and we mentioned we're hooked up with the park, but I was on the soccer side. But the whole idea is, this is Snellville's vision, as I know it, is to build a vibrant town center. And I think you're all moving in the right direction. And I'm here to highlight the economic and Snellville-friendly services that Bethany Park will bring. And it will coincide with the city's 2045 comprehensive plan. And by that I mean these residents will have the opportunity to be active in the town center. The Bethany Park development at 78 in the Civic Drive is ideal for your live, work, play concept for the future of Snellville and the town center. The development of the Civic Drive location will encourage walking, as was mentioned earlier, in the central business district. And the nearby services which these people can already use are the banking, the eye doctor, the Northside Hospital, the dermatologist, the farmer's market, the restaurants, the Quick Stop, the Grove, City Hall, library, senior center, bus service, UPS center, and all these businesses are already here. The only thing you need is people to use them. And by putting this center right in the middle of all these businesses, the businesses will have a chance to grow. And by walking, it keeps the traffic going up and down 78, which I know is primary concern for this whole group. But I'm here, I wholeheartedly recommend and seek your approval for the Bethany Park development. And thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is that it for the applicant? And this is still part of your applicant presentation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, council members, good evening. I'm Will Hargrove. I live at 1842 Glenwood Lane in Snellville. I've been a resident of Snellville and the church for 40 years. As you've heard from the previous presentations, that we believe the Bethany Park project will meet several of the county strategies that have been outlined in the comprehensive 2045 comprehensive plan. I would like to address just a couple of the policies that look at the strategy of create a clear sense of identity. We believe in a town where everyone is proud to be someone, okay, that providing the special housing for special needs people that will include a restaurant and a bakery, and the bakery will be staffed by the people, the special needs families and work in that area. We also think that this particular development will meet the memorable special needs or the memorable place that's outlined in your 2045 plan. It should also be noted that the stacked housing that is going to be unique and offers a significant enhancement to the city, as well as matching the look and the feel of the town center. Bethany Park will be surrounded by planted trees, shrubs, grass, making it a significant improvement to the environment and the urban area around Snellville. Bethany Park will also provide an appealing space for a gateway to Snellville on Highway 78 and the Clowder corridor. Strongly recommend that you approve the Bethany Park project as presented here tonight. Thank you.
The applicant has 1 minute and 15 seconds left.
Thank you. I'll be brief. My name is Jim Jacoby. I'm the owner of Parkland Communities. Just want to touch on a couple of concerns. On Pate Street, our zoning exhibit and our altar survey references a 50-foot wide right-of-way. So we've run title on it. We can double check it, but I think we've got accuracy on there. If there's any additional right-of-way, we'll gladly donate from the center of the right-of-way over to make sure we meet all sort of requirements there. On the architecture of the building, what we try to do was blend the kind of the elevations of the townhomes and with the church. The church is all granite, and so we added accents of granite to the building and then also try to replicate what we do. So we're trying to make it a cohesive, as it was all kind of planned together was the intent. If you'd like for us to go back there and draw on board, we're happy to kind of revisit some elevations if you'd like. I'd love for that not to hold up our approval, if you could so respectfully do so, but I'm more than happy to work with the city and come up with something that everybody feels is a win-win. So we've tried to put a lot of extra architectural details into the building. One idea we have is along our road frontage, we're concerned with the setback, is to have more like a cafe. We could have some outdoor seating out along the frontage and even on the side we have covered seating. So we're trying to make this a really pedestrian feel as you drive through Snellville.
Your time is up, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now I can ask him questions since he stood up. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Jacoby. How are you?
Good
evening. Just for clarification, we believe the right-of-way on Pate is only 30 feet from, so you wouldn't have to dedicate any more. The issue is going to be, you're probably going to have to add some roadway in order, and so that's going to, Jason, could you put up the You got the one with all the squiggly lines on it? All right, let's go with the squiggly line version. There you go, yeah. Can you zoom in on the Pate Street bit a little? Come on, more than that, man. You're magic, you can do it. So you should be able to just use 2 fingers. That's the way we do it at home.
We got 19, it's probably 2000.
Yeah, there we go. All you had to do is slap it. It's looking good. Okay, so yeah, my main concern is it appears the roadway is going to have to be expanded your direction approximately 6 to 8 feet. And I'm worried about that eating into the property some. So, because that is certainly going to have to be done on a residential street. And I think that here, the elevations that are these, I know when we did a site visit, you mentioned, are these the
Yes, sir. So what we did is
Okay.
we made some edits based on our
So
conversations there.
it's overall pretty much the same, just increasing some of the materials to
Variety.
give it a higher grade feel.
Yes, sir. We wanted to kind of create better differential between units to give it a little bit more character.
Okay, and one of the concerns that kind of, Tyler opened the door. He said that the stacked flat units, you haven't had any parking issues with just the single garage with one parking space behind it, which I understand it's town center, we're trying to make it walkable, but we are talking about a 3-bedroom unit and a 2-bedroom unit having a total of 2 single car garages and 2 single pads. Do you have this product as it's before us tonight constructed and having been built and lived in, other than the one up on Sugarloaf that is beautiful but just really under construction?
Yes, sir, we do. We have another project near Duluth. It's our Sweetwater Springs project.
Now, is that the same stacked?
Yes, sir.
Is that the one that we saw over on 120
Yes, sir,
a
that's
year
it.
ago?
Yes, sir, it's the same exact product.
Okay.
And same floor plans. We've improved them a little bit since, but it's the exact same, and we have had no parking issues there at all. Now, keep in mind, the 2-bedroom units are typically occupied most often by a single person. Single professionals, I would say our average resident is under 40. And the single professional uses the other bedroom typically as an office, and a good bit of our residents work hybrid. So they're not traditional, they're going to work at 8 and come back at 5 every day. So it's due to, because it's just the age of the tenant we're going after.
Okay, and
What was the name of the Duluth site again?
Yes, ma'am, it's called Sweetwater Springs, and it's located at 1510 Duluth Highway, Lawrenceville, and it's pretty close to Sugarloaf Mills, or Sugarloaf Mills Mall now. And so I built it, I think it was fully stabilized in 2022. We've owned it ever since, and we've never had any complaints on parking. So it's been accommodated very well. Now, one thing to notice on our site plan, just all the parking that we do have, because we have all the excess parking up here. We have this road frontage parking, which I thought when we planned this view shed, I'm all really big on what are your focal points and what are you looking as you come in. As you come in, you see the fronts of these townhomes, and I think that's going to be a really powerful view as you come in. But we do have parallel parking in front, just similar to the units that you walked, that you experienced the other day. And we have more parking here, and then we have more parking down by the pond. So we've spaced out our parking around for people. And if you really need overflow parking, I think, got plenty of parking here at the church if it's off hours, not during Sunday service. So I think we have parking, ample parking.
Could you scooch that drawing back up just a little bit so we can see? Nope, the other direction. There we go. All right, perfect. So all the excess parking is well distributed except for those that are on Pate. And we already know Pate is going to have to be widened some, so it's going to infringe a little bit on stuff as it is. My main concern is there are existing businesses there, and there is no provision for overflow parking that is convenient for those people on that side. And I think that would be alleviated by reversing those buildings at least. Well, we actually have Jason, where'd you go? Do you have the drawing that shows the numbered buildings? Yeah, no, I've got one to look at, but fine, I need something to look at. I've already lost that one. I know. No, it's not. See, that's why we printed 15 copies of them. Here you go. Someone will pass one down to me. Somehow I've lost 2 of those already tonight, so don't give me your car keys, folks. It's a Monday. Oh, don't zoom out that far.
Let me, I think it's this kind of important point.
Back in.
Make it.
Let's do this. Let me just, Tyler is obviously way better than me. He comes prepared.
Okay.
I ought to zoom in on this. Can you zoom in on this for us, Jason? We're going to zoom in out here. I think this might be the problem area you're talking about, where you have 19 feet of pavement. Yes. And so,
actually, all the way from Civic Drive back to
Sorry, my mic went on. From Civic Drive back to where the cul-de-sac is?
yes, sir. So what we've got is we've got, if you notice, through here, you can see there's this pavement does neck down here, but the right-of-way doesn't change. So we would fully expect to have to improve pretty much, everything along this road.
Right.
It is labeled, maybe I don't know if you can see it, but it is labeled a 50-foot wide right-of-way. So I think you just have variable pavement widths. And even if we had to extend the paving here, you still have, looks like, kind of an unbalanced amount of
Well,
planting
where your
space.
pen is exactly where I measured it as being 19
Yes, sir.
feet.
Well, I think we have plenty of footage left over, because see, all of our dimensions are really from a right-of-way back. So I don't foresee this being an issue from us improving the streets and creating the drives the necessary drives that you need. And if we have to move something back a few feet, we have room in our site plan to make that work. So we're flexible there to make something happen.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Can we go back to the
Yes, sir.
numbered? There we go. Just there, perfect. It's like he's a professional. Okay, so my concern is, if you notice in the upper left-hand corner of that slide there, that's Henry Clower Boulevard. Okay. And you talked about the sight line as you turn off of 78 onto Civic Drive, how stunning that's going to be. As we look at projects in the town center, we have to look at it from all 4 sides, because that's the way it's going to be viewed, particularly on a very heavily traveled Henry Clower Boulevard. And building 9 and 10 facing, and the rear of the buildings up at the Sugarloaf development, they look pretty good, but you still have air conditioners and all the other stuff there that aren't really spectacular. And as people come down Clower Boulevard, I want to make sure that they see the time and effort and quality that you've put into this. So to me, I think building 9, 10, and
7, if I could add, I have an issue with building 7 for the same reason, mainly because building 7, which would be potentially units 79 through 94, in the beginning, you really do see that outside rather than the driveway, and I just really dislike the idea of, well, the buttocks of the building showing to the church side,
Okay, you're talking about this building.
this one, and I understand why it's positioned that way for Building 8 and Building 4 because of the lovely amenities area, courtyard. But Building 7, I feel like, could flip very easily, given the access points.
And actually, no, we play tag team here. Building 2 and 3, because I think parking is really going to be an issue. Building 1 has to stay the way it is because we need the beautiful facade facing Henry Clower as you drive by. I went and took some pictures there, and right now you see woods, but with the proximity to the roadway, those would be very, very visible. But my main concern is that we have enough parking. If 2 and 3 were reversed and we extended the alleyway that goes by 7 and 8 back behind 9 and 10, and turn 2 and 3 around, that would allow street parking on Pate, at least on part of Pate, that center part where building 3 and 2 is, which would pick up probably 1, 2, 3, half a dozen, somewhere between 10 and 18 parking spaces. So that would alleviate some of my concern about the lack of parking, because as wonderful of neighbors as the, I'm going to get the name right, Snellville Community Church is, allowing people to park over there in overflow events, the businesses that are there on Pate Street, I was by there middle of the day today. There was not a lot of traffic, but their parking was actually fairly full. So I don't want them to end up in a situation where somebody might say, well, you know, I'll park over there.
We agree. We want to be good neighbors too. We don't want our tenants parking over there, and we can make it crystal clear. I'm gonna rewind and go back to your first concern, and when you were concerned about, let me use this, it's a little bit prettier. I'm all about focal points. And so what I love about this is that we created kind of more of a municipal park here in the front, and the fronts of these townhomes overlook that. So when you're coming down here in Clower, you really have a great framed view of this park area. And we do a nice, pavilion here. Just think this makes a great space. Secondly, we've really tried to kind of have more, in all of my communities, more of a new urbanist planning approach. I'm a landscape architect, fully licensed and registered, and I get into my planning. And I really like the new urbanist feel that we have, and we've created an entire, 1.5 acre, basically linear park here. And if somebody wanted to, they could walk from here through our park, all the way up here, down through here, and then cross the street up at 78. And you have something that's unique that doesn't exist anywhere else in the city of Snellville. And I think that space, once we've done it, we've already done grading plans and engineered, we've already determined the feasibility, so we know this works. I think that just creates a really nice space. And if you start flipping units and bringing more pavement and vehicular into it, I think it starts making it feel truly suburban. And it may be getting away from your town center concept.
And when we were looking the last 20 years as we developed our town center plans and looking at what we wanted to do, we concentrated on making the streetscapes very inviting and beautiful through the plantings, through the planter strips, through the wider sidewalks. And although I do appreciate the park, which includes every single void between the buildings, that space will not be seen by the public at large. And as I look at redevelopment coming in the area, I would prefer for them to see the beautiful front doors and the streetscapes with the planting and the front porches than the garages and the cars that are parked there. That has been our focus from day one as far as, so I understand the beauty of what you're trying to create, but my concern is parking and the view lines of not the building 1 there as numbered, but building 10 in particular and 9 also, because those will be seen as coming down Clower. So again, oh, there it is.
Okay, so 10 and 9, let me touch on that. So we are going to have a landscape buffer here along our pond as well. So this will all be landscaped with evergreen trees coming through. So that'll help buffer these rear garages, at a minimum the first floor, to help buffer and screen that. And I think these are going to be so far up the hill, it's going to be out of your view shed. Now, I do agree with you on a new urbanism planning aspect to put your massing towards the street. I think that's a good theory, although I do think it's equally important to interject pocket parks and areas of interest and focal points along major roadways. And I think that adds a little the character to the streetscape, more so than just massing more units to a road frontage. I would like to let's see here. On this building here, again, we have a 10-foot lane. We've intentionally created a 10-foot landscape strip here, which we're going to put columnar evergreen trees along this area to buffer us and the church as well. So we've allocated the buffering where we thought it was needed. I want the buffering just as much as the church wants the buffering, so we're equally there. And I'm happy to work with the city planning staff. If they want some adequate buffering, we can do more buffering. If they want, along this detention pond here, we're happy to put in even more. Oh, one other thing, the concern of parking, just looking at it, if we wanted to, maybe we just add a sidewalk. I could shift this building over to here, and then I have a sidewalk that could connect directly through. And now it makes this parking much more accessible. And it's no difference than a lot of parking through my other communities as far as distance away. So what I'm trying to do, is there a better way other than introducing more pavement to accomplish your concerns, which are valid concerns? And so I think if we were to flip this one unit here, it would just move our larger space here more in the middle, and then we could make this more integrated. And maybe this even comes in and connects this. We're going to be a fire pit area here, more community gathering place, and we can do a lot with pedestrian connectivity and to unite it more so than vehicular connectivity.
I'm sorry, you said flip which building? Was it 34 to?
Yes, ma'am. We'll take this building and turn it and put it here, this unit.
Just realign it.
Yeah, that's right. We'll realign it, and then so that'll take this out and put it, and that creates more of an open space here to bring it through. And now you have a larger, better pedestrian connection to help serve from the parking. And in addition, it could also technically park here and walk down this sidewalk to your units as well. So. We've tried to put a check mark in every single box that we could with this plan and really come up with something that's unique and creative. I do believe this will be an award-winning project once we build it, and we will submit it for some awards. And we want that. And we want Snellville to have an award-winning project, and so we're willing to put all the extras into this to make it successful. We want to be a great partner with the church. Hopefully this has more new members to help the church growth. And also serving the community with our shopping center. I'm all about small details. Small details matter, and I'm happy to work with you to make this what you want to see.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, given all of that, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
We still have public hearing. So I will open the floor to public comment. We will first ask for anyone who wants to speak in favor. We will give 15 minutes. And again, just be respectful. There may be other people who wish to speak. So if you keep your time, give us your points and have a seat to let everyone have an opportunity to speak. So first, anyone who would like to speak in support of this project, please come forward and give your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Josh Booth. I live at 2127 Tanglewood Drive, Snellville, Georgia. I have also been a member of Snellville Community Church for the past 3 years. I've had friends with young families move out of the city of Snellville due to the lack of affordable, friendly housing, and I believe that the Bethany Park community would be a bridge to that issue. The Bethany Park community will focus on affordable townhomes with modern designs. The community will incorporate shared green spaces with walking paths to maintain inviting natural aesthetics to the town center and include picnic areas and an open space for events. Snellville Community Church also has a preschool that will collaborate with the Bethany Park community to provide affordable, accessible childcare options to help draw young families and adults to the Snellville community. These strategies ensure that the area is family-friendly, sustainable, and well-connected to the town center, enhancing the overall appeal for Snellville, Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Then seeing none, I will close for those speaking in support of the project and open the floor to those speaking in opposition. If you have opposition or concerns on this project, please step forward and provide your name and address for the record. Seeing no one rushing for the microphone, I will then close the public hearing portion, and I will entertain a motion of council. We will vote on this on 3 different votes. We have RZ 24-05 first, then we will have the SUP for the multifamily, and then we will have a vote for RZ 24-06. Oh, we do, sorry, I'm being corrected here. We will do the votes for both RZs. Oh, I stand corrected. We have one ordinance that will cover both rezonings. So this one ordinance will be for RZ 2505, I'm sorry, 2405, and RZ 2406. So we will take a motion on those first.
Madam Mayor, if I could ask, we've received, first of all, a lot of new information tonight, and it is a lot to take in, especially the details that we want to make sure that we have accounted for in a really very important centerpiece of our town center. This could be an amazing showpiece, and I'm very cautious that I want to get every single detail right. And I'm proposing that we postpone the vote until February 10th. I'd like to make that motion, but I'm not going to do so just yet because I wanted to voice that first and possibly get feedback.
Well, you would need to make the motion, and then we'd see if there were a second, and then we would go with the vote from there, or discussion there, and then you could decide at that point whether you want it to move forward or withdraw your motion.
Councilwoman Linsky, if you're going to make that, can you do a motion to table the vote until February 10th? Thank you.
Motion to table the vote until the February 10th meeting.
There is a motion to table the final vote to February 10th. Is there a second to that?
I will second that for discussion.
There is a second for discussion. Now, council members, if you'd like to discuss, Councilmember Linsky, if you'd like to say anything else, or if anyone else would like to opine.
For me personally, the residential is extremely important, and I think it's well thought out. I'm not sure that I'm in agreement with the applicant as far as some of the layout, but we can, I'm sure, get around that. But the commercial building is going to be a centerpiece that will set the tone for all redevelopment on the 78 corridor. It's going to be the most visible new construction that we've had. Even the Tomlin is a block off of 124. I would like to see at least some preliminary elevations that meet our town center requirements before we move forward.
Any other council members wish to add to the discussion?
I would think that table is the right term I want to use, right? Tabling it at this point is probably the best option so that we can work out all these little details that we still have some questions about. And especially since some of these drawings weren't received until Friday, I believe, and we haven't really had a chance to look at them in great detail. So I support tabling at this point.
Any other council members want to add to the discussion?
Just for public clarification, the latest drawing actually was sent to us this morning by staff. It was received by the city slightly before noon, but I don't believe it got up on the website or was available to mayor and council until this morning.
But I would add that the changes on there were widening a sidewalk. So it didn't really substantially change anything else about the project other than widening the sidewalk. Anyone else for discussion? I mean, you don't need to talk about whether you're consenting to the vote or not. We're not voting yet. We're just discussion.
Yeah, I would appreciate an opportunity to drive through Sweetwater Springs and look at their parking situation before we vote on this.
Okay. All right. So we do have a motion to table this final vote until February the 10th with a second. I will now ask for the vote. All in favor of tabling, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed, so we will table the final vote to February 10th. But this was our public hearing where we took public comment on this, and so at our next February 10th meeting, we will not have public hearing, we will just strictly go to the vote. And council, we also need to table the SUP as well.
Motion to table the SUP until the February 10th meeting.
So there is a motion to table SUP 24-03 to February the 10th. Is there a second?
I will second.
There's a second by Norman Carter. All in favor, please raise your hands. That is 6 in favor with none opposed, so we will table that as well. Okay. All right, now we have nothing under consent agenda, no old business. We have one item under new business, and that's consideration and action on approval of the 2025 Snellville Tourism and Trade Contract. This is an annual contract that we approve with Tourism and Trade. They provide the production of all of the city events, the concerts on the green, the beach blast, the tree lighting, all of those things, Food Truck Fridays. And we do this contract with them for them to actually provide those services to us. So is there a motion?
Motion to approve the 2025 Snellville Tourism and Trade Association contract.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. So that ends our business portion of the meeting. So we will move to council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Carter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening. Thank you all for being here, being so patient with us. Today, I received a notice from Mr. Louis Coxey, who is the director of the Gwinnett County Department of Transportation. And he stated that his department will discuss their findings about the hazardous driving conditions at the intersection of Highway 78 and North Crestview and South Crestview Drives with the State Department of Transportation this week, and he will get back to me this week so that I can provide you with that information. And I would also like to announce that on Martin Luther King Day, January 20th, 2025, we hosted a Day of Service event for the Girls Breaking Chains Incorporated. That was their co-founder and director, Miss Tanisha Estrada, gave us our invocation. That organization is composed of young ladies who have parents who are predominantly male parents who are incarcerated. And this is an organization that helps these young ladies with their adjustment. And while they were here for their day of service, they could have been watching football, they could have been out having fun, but these teenagers were here creating gift bags for an organization called Motherhood Behind Bars. And these are women who are mothers who are incarcerated, but they're involved in rehabilitative, educational, and job programs that will prepare them to transition from incarceration to participation in normal life. So that was a great job by them. They were all happy here. They got a little bit of education in Snellville government, and it was really a great day spending time with them. I'd like to thank the mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and our city clerk, Melissa Arnold, and our city manager for allowing this to happen here at Snellville City Hall. Thank you, and have a safe drive home.
Thank you, Norman. We'll move to Councilmember Hetherington.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Very brief report in which I apologize to the Mayor Pro Tem because when he couldn't find his map, I had taken it to make notes. So that was my fault. Sorry, Todd. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Hi, good evening. On Dr. King's weekend, just a few weeks ago in the snowstorm and all of that, just before it, I guess, on that Saturday before, Snellville Youth Commission put together care packages, and then they went out and visited one of our local nursing homes and spoke with the residents, really just communicated, shared some moments, and were excellent stewards and representatives of the city of Snellville. So I'm very proud of our young people, and again, teenagers who could have been doing many other things, but they chose to dedicate that Saturday to the community and to the city of Snellville. So I appreciate that. And thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Councilmember Schultz.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I know sometimes these public hearings get long and drawn out. So we appreciate all those who provided input for us because this was a very important topic tonight. I do want to remind y'all that there's a farmer's market this Saturday. It seems like it's too soon for one already, but it is the first Saturday in February. I also wanted to let you know that this Friday, Main Street Restaurant will have a ribbon cutting at 11:30. The rumor is they're providing a pizza buffet for those who attend. They're now located in the Ollie's Shopping Center. So if you have the time, come on out for a little bit of pizza. And thank you all for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Gretchen. Mayor Pro Tem Warner.
Again, thank you everyone for being here tonight. for a church that has been here 100 years, over 100 years, and an integral part of the city, we need to make sure that we give good, well thought out consideration to the development that is going to be on your doorstep for the next 100 years. So please excuse us for tabling. It's in no way a reflection on our love for you. It's a matter of we just want to make sure we get everything as absolutely right as we possibly can. That being said, the other thing we did on our agenda tonight was approve the contract for Snellville Tourism and Trade, or Experience Snellville, which, if you're not familiar, that's the group that puts on all those fabulous events. Well, the calendar was in our packet, which you probably don't have, and it's pretty much the same as it's been in years past. We're going to have the concerts and 4th of July and Memorial Day and Veterans Day, but there are two notable additions this year. On, get the date right, September 22nd, we're having a Latin festival, which one of our state representatives was instrumental in making, requesting that. We tried to do it this last year and it just didn't work out. I think there may have been a hurricane. So put that on your calendar. In addition to all the other things, of course, they'll be in the Experience Snellville magazine. And then another one that some people will get very excited about is on December 5th, there will be, an addition to our calendar, Christmas Market on the Green from 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. I know it's a long way off, but you got to start saving your nickels now. But that's fabulous that the group has continued to innovate and try to bring us new offerings, and we appreciate their hard work. Their executive director couldn't handle the length of the meeting, and so she's gone. I know she was excited to point those things out. The mayor and I were honored to be speakers at, she was a speaker and I just handed her pieces of paper at their retreat as they worked on their business plan for the year. Dedicated volunteers that put in tons and tons of work to make sure, just like you do at your church, that we build strong community here in Snellville. And thank God it's not snowing out there anymore. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you, Todd. Just two things under my report. I had the opportunity yesterday to speak with a Cub Scout Pack 231. They're out of Grace Church off of Dogwood Road, and it was just fun sharing what it's like to be mayor and answering their questions. Although I didn't answer the one question, one of the scouts asked me how old I was, and I told him he wasn't supposed to ask that. Then one other important note, since now you all know where we are here in Snellville City Hall, we're giving you the opportunity to come back Thursday night. House Bill 581, you might have started seeing some things or maybe some newspaper articles about House Bill 581, and this was the referendum that was on the ballot in November about the homestead exemption and capping the valuation increases for homesteaded properties. So if you are owner occupying your property, this referendum said that your property values would be capped to inflation rates each year. Once that referendum, it did pass in November. That started the clock then for all the cities and counties and school boards have a decision to make. We can either opt in and allow that cap on homesteaded values, or we can choose to opt out and not have that cap on homesteaded values. Now, as a homeowner, it's very obvious that this is a great thing, so that you don't get those wild fluctuations in your homeowners, in your valuation for your property taxes. I know mine this year went up $100,000. But there are some significant repercussions to the city budget going forward, and there would be some significant repercussions for commercial property owners and also homes, residential properties that are not owner-occupied, so rental properties. When we're dealing with an environment now where it's hard to find affordable housing, this is just going to drive rental rates back, up even higher. And what we're doing is, we were under a very tight timeline to make this decision. The November ballot was November 5th. The state legislature only gave us till March 1st to make a final decision. They also said that if we even considered opting out, we needed to hold public hearings, 3 of them, and they have to be noticed, meaning there had to be plenty of advance warning of these publications of these meetings. And so when all of this happened so quickly and our decision point is such a short time frame, we decided to go ahead and advertise for the public hearings. So I want to tell you right now, this council has not decided whether we're going to opt in to this property value cap or if we're going to opt out. We have truly not made a decision, but we did go ahead and advertise for the public hearings, and we're holding those public hearings so that we can get all of you engaged in this process and hear from you and let us think about things from your perspective, and then also give you some information about long-term what this could do to the city's budget. We had our first hearing at our last city council meeting with actually surprise comments. We are doing a separate from a traditional or regular city council meeting, we are doing a hearing this Thursday night here at City Hall at 6:30. This meeting will be more of a town hall that will, I'll give a very brief presentation so that we're all on the same page as far as what this means and how this bill works, and then we will talk about it. So you'll be able to provide your comments, pro or con, however that comes out, and then we'll be able to have some discussion in a little bit easier town hall type format. So we encourage you all to come out Thursday night. I know it's another night out of your schedule, but this is a really important thing. It's a decision we make. Once we make this decision, we can't go back. The state legislature has not put in a mechanism for us to change our minds later on down the road. So we want to make sure that we're making a good decision, not only for our homeowners and property owners, but also for the city and our ability to provide services that you all expect and deserve. So please plan to come out Thursday night. We will have our third and final public hearing in conjunction with our February 10th. Oh, we're doing it before the council meeting. So that public hearing will be at 6:30, not 7:30, on February the 10th. So we'll do that, that third public hearing then. And then I think our vote is planned for the last meeting of February. So I encourage you all just to get educated on the process, or educated on what this means, and then feel free to email us if you're not able to come to one of those public hearings. Love to hear from you. With that, I will close my mayor's report, and I will open the floor to public comment. You may come forward, state your name and address for the record, speak on one topic for 5 minutes or less. You don't have to use your whole 5 minutes. Seeing no one, I will close the public comment and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. So we are done. Thank you all for coming out.